Public service announcement. Most men probably would never admit this, but I'm going to be the first to say this. A man that had battled with a lot of mother wounds, mother issues, whatever you want to call it. A lot of men are afraid to admit this, number one. This is not all men. I'm just telling you from experience. Our mothers was our first teachers. Y'all heard me say this a lot, right? She didn't make our lives easy because of her own father wounds and her own internal issues. Most likely her own internal conflict or battle with herself. Most likely a deep wound of emotional abandonment. So, y'all gotta excuse that beat. So with that, a lot of us became mirrored back to her, whether she wanted to accept this or not, but this is just like a deep revelation. A lot of us as little boys mirrored back, how could I say this? We mirrored back or mirrored and reminded that mother of so much of what she has experienced with men that even through her inability to regulate her emotions or even know how to be healthy, she only knew to just be, if you want to use the term, toxic, unhealthy, or project her fears from a wounded place. So ladies, what a lot of men won't admit, and it's okay because a lot of it's not their fault. So much damage a lot of us has experienced with the mother wound. Where did I get that? With the mother wound, to where dang, I was going somewhere with this. Come back to me. Basically, okay, here we go. Yeah. Sometimes we'll hold on to something so much we don't even realize the resentment that has been created. And see, that resentment carried through generations. That resentment for probably that abandonment wound that mother probably has, the resentment she has towards her father is the same resentment she sprues out into her sons. And so this is why we don't even realize how important it is or how vital it is. We through our wounded state, that we haven't made each other's life, man and woman, or growing into adulthood, we haven't cared enough to make each other's life easier. And what we think by we making our life easier is thinking that it's superficial things like money and stuff like that. And deep down, it doesn't make it easier. I'm not saying that it isn't part of enhancing your life. I was reflecting on something, and shout out to, if you're not familiar with Hood Healer, I saw something where she was mentioning how our mother, if you want to, as men, we should, give her, saying like, give her, on one of her posts, give her stability and security, and make her life easier. And then I was like, yo, bingo. So what hit me from this, because I don't even know how long this message is gonna be, what hit me from this, I might just keep it short and sweet, because a lot of these revelations I'm just getting and I share with y'all. So I asked myself, I was like, man, wow, how do I make, whether my partner or whomever, like, life easier? Then I was asking myself, have I made my life easier, or who has made my life easier? And what I mean by that is like, it ties into like that mother wound aspect, to where how much of the healing is so vital, inwardly. Again, a lot of our childhoods wasn't easy. A lot of us, grew, just growing up in homes where it's like we was walking on eggshells. So again, that resentment that probably was most likely built up from mothers who probably had a lot of toxic ways or unhealthy patterns or were emotionally abandoned, that just basically trickled on and had a ripple effect onto the men that you see today. Men such as myself that, again, went through these things and I didn't even understand or overstand or even comprehend, even know what it was to how to regulate my emotions. Then I start going to the deeper part of that. It's like, wow, make her life easier. Then I look at my grandmother, my mother, just the women, even in reflecting on certain relationships. Did I make all of those women life easier? Whether through my inability to even process or regulate my emotions, instead of blaming them, instead of not taking full accountability of, me being who I am and my shortcomings, my own accountability. And then they hit me. I was like, for a lot of them, I didn't make their life easier. And I would say it's a healthy balance, but for the ones who were on the end of my inability, again, to regulate my own emotions and suffer at the hands of someone who were wounded, I had to forgive myself, and even at times had to seek forgiveness, seek them and have a one-on-one and ask them for forgiveness. May they find it in their heart. I think that's one of the toughest things, because when I reflect, I was like, wow, my mom never had a man that made her life easier. So I can see myself being a burden in her eyes, or from her lens. It's not that it's not love there for your child, but I was just like, wow, she never had a man that make her life easier. Then I was getting into like telling someone like, wow, that makes a lot of sense why people try to intrude on certain people's relationships or so forth. Because a lot of us, I mentioned generational curse breakers. We want nothing more for our life to be more harmonious and easy and bliss and peaceful. That generational aspect of that generational curse breaker is realizing that we didn't come from wombs that, our fathers created this harmony, peace, and even made our mother's life easier. When you look at the systems in place, it's not in place for people to thrive, depending on how, their mindset and how they, can really see their progression and realize and recognize the nicks and nannies or the certain things that pretty much hinders people from really progressing or keeping them in a more like a stagnant place. So that really hit me when she said make her life easier. I'm like, wow. Then it hit me. I was like, man, how could I have made someone's life easier when my mentality or perspective was like driven off at the moment, I was younger, like conflict driven or survival. So you can see this behavior pattern play out a lot. And a lot of men will never admit to this, but I'm the first that you're probably going to see and say, we don't know how to make your life easier. And it's not that we're not capable. A lot of us don't even know what a healthy security and stability not just feels like, but look like. Through my development of emotional intelligence, I realized, like, where did my emotional intelligence, stem from? What is it rooted in? And the reason I share my messages is to bring us closer to ourselves and in partnerships, relationships, and realizing our shortcomings and also taking full accountability, and being able to forgive our versions of ourselves so we can let that version of ourselves go. And along with those very people that continue that cycle for so many, years in our lives, and also, generationally. So that was huge. I was like, wow. It makes so much sense, again, why you can have a unhealthy mother or a toxic mother who, again, due to when you look at their behavior patterns, I just know personally from experience people who just try to intrude on relationships. And then I start to recognize their pattern. And when she mentioned, like, make her life easier, I was like, wow. I was telling someone, I said, when you look at this person, they probably never had a man make their life easier. So they don't know what it is to be at ease. They don't know what it is to be at peace. They never made peace with whatever father wound they had. So they only know what they perceive as love is a toxic or unhealthy love or a dysfunctional way. And we see that a lot in a karmic family dynamic or in said relationships where we feel like this is all there is, or it's really has been built on survival or a foundation that, again, nothing really comes with said ease or comfort, or really it's not stable. And, you know, when I see the bigger picture and the theme of all this, it really touched my heart when I read it, because I was like, wow, make her life easier. And I asked myself, how am I making not only myself, my life more easier, but the person that I'm, you know, connected to? And the reason why this is so vital, because she also mentioned the importance of, like, you know, a woman bringing forth life through her portal, through her womb, and the legacy aspect of that as a man, you know, the legacy in its entirety. And I myself, again, from growing up in my demographics, you know, these things, like, aren't upheld when it comes to, like, upholding a woman in such a powerful and sacred way. And, you know, outside of color, you know, just a woman, you know, a woman, just all women in general, there has not been things in place that make your life easier. And I want to say I apologize from myself as a man who was caught in the loop of that dysfunction at a point in time, even through my unawareness of, you know, things. And my apology isn't just to you, it's also for the daughters that had to come up in this. And that's why it's so important for me. Like I talk about being a generational curse breaker, because the things I always point out is for our lives to be more at ease and more peaceful, because all mothers deserve a life that's easy. Instead of this narrative, which again was set up that way for y'all not to thrive. So y'all literally programmed to believe it's supposed to be harder. If it was in my power or in this lifetime, I would love to see women, like, lives more easier. Putting, you know, women that are carrying a child, because we so easily, like, push this thing where, oh my gosh, they gotta, you know, we really have made it hard. And I feel like that's why society, I just noticed in the depths of my soul, why when you look at this country, and, you know, there was a sister that spoke about how, you know, when you look at the origins of things, you know, scientifically, you know, it's darker. And when you see how darker shaded women have been treated, and what this country was founded on, or the energy that is carried, which is like a Cancerian energy, that is the matriarchal, that is the mother. And in the beauty of what I see coming into fruition, all of that pain is going to, you know, all of that pain is going to be illuminated. Your wounds are going to be illuminated internally and externally for the world to see, to bring about said divine justice and balance and harmony and peace. Now, again, a wound has scars. So that being said, those scars are like to remind you of the beauty of how you came to be, and also the importance of how, you know, the progression or the forward progress that we still can make. And I do see a world where women, all women, no matter their shade, and especially the justice that the darker women will get from those who have went through said deep traumas when it comes to, you know, life, when it comes to society, when it comes to being devalued, all of that will and shall be restored, you know, Ashe. And, you know, things will become much easier, even though, you know, I remember what song was that Nipsey Hussle was saying, like, when's the last time what does he say? Like, when the last time you were hope, where you been hope, where the hopeless is at. And a lot of people don't realize, I always say there's great things coming to the most rural areas just for to restore balance. And because the Divine Mother, Divine Father, Source, the Most High, however you want to title it, like, your tears has been accounted for. All of you mothers who did not see light at the end of the tunnel. You know, there are warriors, there are people in place that's going to make sure that things are going to happen as it should, and it's written. You know, I forgot the verse or quote in the Bible where it talks about, just that the spiritual aspect of it says, like, how we, heaven, thy will shall be done on heaven as it is on earth, or something like that. And see, paradise dwells within, so heaven will be brought here, in a sense of, like, that will be restored. So that light will be restored in those dark places. And when you look at the demographics and everything, I'm starting to see a major shift in power, where the people who are on their high horse in said communities, who upheld a lot of things wickedly and dark, where things came easy to them, while they just sat back and didn't care to share their resources to, and this is on all levels. I'm really seeing, like, paying attention to the justice divinely that's happening within these said communities, who, again, were built upon keeping said people out, especially darker people, or just built their resources just for certain people to prosper. And I'm recognizing literally the dismantle, inwardly and outwardly, if you pay close attention, because the divine operates through all shades, all creeds. So, but I'm recognizing the dismantling of the structural racism systems and corporations and business for the betterment of all, for all human beings and humanity. Because in order for us to really cleanse something, we have to see where it's dirty, where it's unhealthy, where it's not, it has to be purified. It's just like a wound. You have to clean it out before you can just tend to it. And so when I look at the wounds of this country and so forth in this world, everything would be addressed. There would be no stone going on unturned. So when I read that earlier about, like, life being easier, make her life easier, it really made me really, and this is not to forget the men, but it really made the mother issues or wounds more apparent, to where I'm like, can I just sit there and place the blame on my mom, like, oh my gosh, you were this, you were that, da 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 da. But in reality, my place of compassion or self-compassion is that I can still have a place, and this is where the disconnect has come from. It's like, we are so easily judging a lot of women who we don't realize, like, their anatomy has been attacked. Their divine structure has been attacked in all ways and all forms, to where they're anything but valuable, anything but beautiful inside and out. Like, everything has been attacked. And again, what is that quote, or what is that? It was something, I'm glad it just came to me. It was saying how a nation can go no further than its woman. Or, dang, what is it? A nation can go no further than, I believe it was the woman, or basically like the matriarchal. A nation can go no further than, basically reflecting that woman. Like, a nation can go no further than the said woman. Like, basically how you empower the woman, how you uplift her, make it easier. And when you reflect, I'm going to leave y'all with this. When you look at the underlying, and this is why I hold all women accountable. I even had this talk with the kid, the mother of my kids, and I talk about it on all levels. Just because you're a certain color and then you deny, certain things you want to be in denial about, and you don't see certain things, and you don't want to see it, it's going to be more apparent in your reality. It's going to, it's something like, the universe keeps showing you something, or, like, oh, I know you see this, but it's going to become more apparent. And what I mean by that, how could I say this? Let's just say certain things and certain demographics is going to happen just for people to come together. There are things that's going to happen catastrophically. There are things that are going to happen so people can come together. It's already happened. I talked to someone the other day. They were talking about how certain places in, certain states are unifying schools or making them come together because of certain budget cuts or whatever it is. I don't look at it like something... Someone else's perspective can be like, that's horrible. I look at it like divine. It's all divinely orchestrated. Because you know that you have these private schools, you have all this stuff happening. But when someone can look at the polarity of that, it's going to bring up everything in people. Just to show y'all how much we are so much alike in so many ways outside of our skin color. But for those who say they don't see that, I always hold people that are lighter, depending on who they are, like, not depending on, but for y'all to sit back, like I was telling someone, for you to sit back and act like you don't know what's been going on in this country, even when it comes to darker people, even when it comes to darker women, says a lot about you as a woman that is lighter. When you are in those medical systems, we are in your said religion's belief and all these other things that uphold certain people in a certain standard, in an inferior way. All those fucking illusions are going to be shattered. And you're going to keep... Karma is going to be a way of, like, you didn't want to create, work, or do something with this person. No matter their religion, no matter their belief systems, no matter this or that. And let me tell you, I'm living proof of this. I'm living proof of being in places where, again, 30, 40, 50 years ago, I would be like, literally, and we know this from the history of, of America. I couldn't walk or be in certain communities due to the color of my skin. So a lot of the beauty of having the courage to speak up about said things, no matter who falls away, no matter who accepts or likes me, everyone cannot walk this path. Everyone don't have the courage to speak up and be honest and be authentic with themselves, because integrity is everything. So a lot of you will be faced with those very things. You think you can outrun certain things. This is why I always talk about generational curse breaker. I'm a firm believer that I had to meet my partner specifically to highlight the deep-rooted hatred within my own lineage, and also the deep-rooted hatred within her lineage. When people who hide behind their religion, hide behind their skin color, hide behind their money, hide behind a lot of things, and they really thinking this makes their life easier. And truthfully, they're in for a rude awakening. And they don't, that's just like people that know they're coming to a spiritual awakening. Yeah, you're in for, an awakening to where your identity, you're going to realize your identity was literally created on a system or said belief system from someone else who either did not love themselves, did not really have a firm foundation or security, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. And this is what a lot of people are being faced with. So that life can be more harmonious and peaceful and easy. Because when I look at humanity, y'all find every stupid and ignorant reasons not to like people, not to accept them. And a lot of it reflects your own internal battle. So for this youth, life will become more easier because a lot of us are bridges, as generational curse breakers. I'm a firm believer I had to meet people just for things to be illuminated. Just for things, the uncomfortable truths, the uncomfortable conversations to be had. Because a lot of us are here to bridge for those youth who, when you see kids that go to the park, they don't care nothing about that. They don't care nothing about what someone looks like. But when you look at some of these demographics, they purposely keep their kids away from people. And that's both. But what I recognize, I was brought here to illuminate that. People purposely keep people away. That's just like people who believe in certain religions. I don't want to deal with that just because you That's the devil. That's weird. That's this, that. Yet again, it's your perspective. You're entitled to that. At the same moment, why does that keep you from living at peace amongst each other? Y'all find every reason, which is totally ignorant, totally egotistically driven. That's all it is. And so with that, a lot of your karma is your subconscious fears that are, oh, I didn't ever think I would live here. Oh, I didn't ever think, oh, this could never happen to me. And your ego gonna be shattered. Oh my, your hurt ego. And your emotions not gonna matter. Because who are you? Who are you? You can't hide. Nobody can hide behind, none of these things when it comes to the different levels of things. Nobody. No, that's done. The veil is lifted. So I wanted to I got into a whole nother subject, but still it all ties into each other, because everyone here, no matter your demographics, color, creed, status, or whatever, we all want to live a life that's more harmonious and peaceful and with ease. What is all this about? What is all this about? And a lot of us, I had to come to that self-realization that my journey was never in vain. I had to get this set awareness to realize, like, I wouldn't ever want my son to go down the path that I went, because he has his own individual journey. Same thing with my daughter. I wouldn't want none of them to experience that. But I see the beauty in being a bridge. I see a lot of you are here to expose the frauds and fakes in your lineage. The people who've been hiding behind the certain things, and you don't even got to do nothing. Only thing you got to do is be yourself. Be yourself. Be your authentic self. Be your honest, most rawest self. That divine feminine. Be your honest, and that's what that feminine energy that's rising up in us all. And that masculine aspect is going to show you that. It's going to be the assertive part of who we are. And so, yeah, it's beautiful moments we living in. It's so divine because it's exposing everything. It's unveiling everything on so many levels now. Y'all get your popcorn ready. So ask yourself, how are you making your life easier and in the ones in your life? Because a lot of us, again, we didn't grow up in demographics where things came easy or it was very easy. So a lot of our belief systems comes from that. The hard work, the survival mentality, things like that. When truthfully, no, progress and, being prolific, being gifted, it's just like when you receive something effortlessly, that's just how life is supposed to be. And that's what a lot of us here are to restore within ourselves and within our lives, and for our kids to live in an environment where they are, embraced, accepted, where they can just be themselves without judgment, fear of consequences, and so forth. So I challenge you to be you and live life more easier and allow things to just unfold as they should. Peace and bliss and shalom.